What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fastbreak-Podcast. Today I'm just going to be doing a little just recap of this week and specifically about one specific player and what we did and did not do well this week. Today we beat the Orlando Magic 109-107, which was a huge win for us because this puts us 41-29, which puts us 2 games above the Sun. Okay. This puts us above the Suns. This puts us above the Suns, which will put us in 7th place. Which will put us in 7th place, which is big. This is a very big win for us because we lost that game against Washington, which wasn't supposed to happen. They're statistically the worst team in the NBA, so that was a rough loss. But anyway, so what I'm going to be talking about is I have all these points here, and I'm just going to go through them. So, okay, first off, the Kings are 8-1 when Keon Ellis starts. So what does this mean? First of all, what does this mean for Keon Ellis? And second of all, what does this mean for Kevin Huerter? Because he's usually our starter on this team. So as we all know, Kevin Huerter is out with a dislocated shoulder injury, which will probably be out for maybe a couple more weeks or maybe even the rest of the season, depending on how bad it is. But I think this might be Kevin Huerter's last season with us because he's been very inconsistent, not just this season but last season, and we're seeing a lot of growth in Keon Ellis, which is good to see because he's a young player and he has a lot of potential from what we've seen. So this is good for Keon Ellis, but not great for Kevin Huerter because it might mean the end of the Kings' career for Kevin Huerter. But Keon's been doing great. He scored 19 points today, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists with 0 turnovers against the Magic, which is great numbers from Keon, and he's continuing to play great defense and being able to show up on the offensive end, which Kevin Huerter wasn't able to do, which was he only had either a good defensive night or a good offensive night. But Keon Ellis can do both, which is really good to see for the Kings, is exactly what the Kings needed, for this game and for the Kings for the remainder of the season moving forward. And it's also big for when Malik Monk doesn't have good games because he had 0 points today, which isn't great, but we're able to have people like Keon Ellis be able to step up and grab 5 boards and get 5 assists and get 19 points. And that's going to be very helpful for when our quote-unquote star players don't show up. I'm putting Malik Monk in a star player category now. He's just at that level. Okay, overall this week the Kings had some good wins. They had some great wins, and then they had one very bad loss against the Wizards, which would have made it the perfect week. The perfect road trip for us. But unfortunately, we lost to them because it's kind of goes back to what I said last video. When we get nervous and our threes aren't falling down, we just keep on chucking them and finding bad shots. And a lot of this is from De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk most of the time because they kind of want to get in a rhythm and start chucking threes. And I think what the Kings need to do is get down in the paint and use Domantas Sabonis. He's one of the best pick-and-roll bigs in the NBA. And we got to take advantage of that every night when the Kings' 3 isn't going down. So, let's focus a little bit on this loss against... first of all, the Kings had great wins against the Grizzlies and the Toronto Raptors, which we had to get that out of the way. Okay, this loss against the Wizards. So, we didn't do great field goal percentage. We had 43% field goal percentage, which isn't good, but it could be way worse. But our 3-point percentage was 28%. We shot 11 from 39 from 3. And the Wizards shot 10 from 25. You see how they made less threes than us and shot less and still won. This proves that the Kings can make less threes and still win a game by just getting in the paint and using Domantas Sabonis as bully ball and De'Aaron Fox with his shiftiness to be able to get to the rim, and Malik Monk can do the same. That the Kings don't only have to make threes consistently every night to win. I think the Kings have to really install that into their brain, to that when they get nervous in the fourth quarter or their threes and knocking down later on, that doesn't mean just to keep on chucking them. That you could try to shoot out of it in maybe the first and second quarter. I'm fine if the Kings are a bad first or second quarter team, but where the Kings really need to lock it in and know what they're doing good at and know what they're doing bad at and recognize that in the third and fourth quarter, which I think that's what conversations they have to have during halftime, is what's working and what's not working, and to continue to do what's working and to not do what's not working for the remainder of the game. And the Kings just haven't got that yet, that they haven't been able to recognize what that is. And I think the Kings will get there eventually with when they start to, because it's kind of starting to become a habit now, that I think the Kings will eventually recognize it. But yeah, overall the Kings had, they had a great week. Like I said, they beat the Grizzlies and the Raptors. Let's see what else. But yeah, really, because we shot 89% from the free throw line. They only shot 73. So the real reason only why we lost is because we just started chucking threes, and we just kind of threw the game away, and we just didn't do anything about it when that was a must-win game. I'm gonna be honest. I know we won 3 games out of this road trip, but I just feel like we had to win that game because the West is so tight right now, where the Kings, they have 41 wins and they're in 7th place, which that isn't the best compared to the Eastern Conference. Like the Kings in the East had 41 wins, the Kings would be in 5th or 6th place right now. That's a 3-spot difference, which is insane because there's only a few dominant East teams, but this Western Conference is all around just great teams. So the Kings have to continue to get these gritty wins against the Grizzlies or even fight hard like they did against the Knicks. I think the Kings just have to go into every game expecting to expect. How am I going to say this? The Kings have to go into every game expecting to win, but not being confident in that, to know that they all the teams that they play in the Western Conference and even in the Eastern Conference that they can lose to, because all these teams are good in some way. They're not overall in general bad. There's always something good in an NBA team. So the Kings have to go into every game knowing that they can lose it and that they have to battle to be able to, if they want to make the playoffs. So I think to kind of help this is let's say we barely make the playoffs this year and we lose in the first or second round because the Kings are trying to get to championship status, which if they make the playoffs this year and get out in the first or second round, there is going to be changes made. And I think changes that need to be made is we're going to have to let go of Kevin Huerter and Harrison Barnes because they haven't been the most consistent for us. I mean, I like that Harrison Barnes is a good kind of veteran, and leader on this team. But I think we could also get people like we had JaVale McGee, who's a veteran who has experience, and that could be have kind of a leadership role in the locker room. I think it's easier now to find that veteran player that you could get because there's so many of them in free agency. But I think just to move on from Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, which I kind of said before on the trade deadline video. But yeah, if the Kings want to make a great leap forward in the NBA, there has to be some change, or there has to be some recognition on what each player needs to do better at and what they need to do better at as a team. So overall, like I said, the Kings had a great week. Besides that loss to the Wizards, and they had a great game tonight against the Magic. And I think anything we could take away from this week is that we've learned that we need to continue to start Keon Ellis. This guy's such a dog. He's so good at defense. He can provide on offense. He gets assists. He gets boards. He's just a great overall player, and I think he'll be great for the Kings moving forward. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate you guys always watching. Keep up the support, and see you guys next time.